Hey guys, LevelCap here. Today I'm going to be unlocking the Mastery Dog Tag with the Type 88 light machine gun. Now to get the Mastery Dog Tag with any weapon you need to get 500 kills with it. It's no small feat, and especially with the Type 88, which I gotta say I haven't had the Mastery Dog Tag with this gun yet because it's probably one of my least favorite weapons in the entire game. Now I'm very curious to see what kind of role the Type 88 plays in Battlefield 4 because it's been in a lot of the BF4 media. The Chinese faction often has the Type 88 LMG. The new class images that were just released in the Battlefield blog show the Chinese support player using the Type 88, and there's no real way getting around its rate of fire. You know, that's the thing that hurts it the most. It's got a rate of fire that clocks in at 650 rounds per minute, and it only does a maximum damage of 25 per shot, which drops off pretty quickly. So you got a low rate of fire weapon that doesn't do a lot of damage, and you're kind of stuck with a gun that's just not going to down people that quickly. And you know, I don't know how you get around that in Battlefield 4, how you get around rate of fire, because a lot of these weapons fire the same sorts of rounds, so you can't have them do different types of damage. So what you gotta do is you have to try and like reduce the recoil enough until it's super accurate. And that's where it kind of fell apart in Battlefield 3, is the recoil wasn't particularly impressive, the accuracy wasn't particularly great. You couldn't put a heavy barrel on the thing, so you just got this kind of low damage weapon, but at least it's got a lot of ammo in it. And one thing is, you'll see here, I'm just dropping C4 on guys, and I love this. Detonating it through the wall, killing the guy on the other side of the wall. This weapon makes you become very proficient with what other gadgets you have. Either your pistol or your C4 or whatever it is. You're going to see me get quite a few C4 kills during this gameplay here because I'm just not confident enough in my ability to down somebody with the Type 88. In fact, you'll see me switch to my 1911 sidearm a lot because I feel like I can shoot somebody in close quarters and kill them faster with my 1911 than I can with the Type 88. Now, I'm not using a foregrip with this weapon, I'm actually using a bipod, and although I don't really use the bipod very much, I do like having the option just in case to hunker down at long range. The reason why I don't use a foregrip is not because this weapon doesn't have considerable side-to-side recoil. It does have some pretty decent left pull and right pull, and a bipod would certainly help it. It's just its aiming down sight accuracy is so poor that if I put a foregrip on here, it's going to reduce that ADS accuracy even further and just absolutely kill my chances of being able to down anybody at long range. You know, I've been in multiple situations before with this weapon where I'm just aiming for the longest time at downrange, trying to kill somebody, and then I just start kind of like single shotting to try and land a hit on them, and even then it doesn't always land because it's just got really bad aiming down sight accuracy, which I still, you know, find really disappointing about machine guns in Battlefield 3. Their ADS accuracy has never been particularly representative of guns, of the weapons in real life, and it seems like they are going to be changing that up a bit in Battlefield 4, making the machine guns a little bit more responsive, a little bit more usable. Now personally, I've been enjoying comparing the alpha stats in Battlefield 4 to the current gun stats in Battlefield 3, and in that regard, the Type 88 is actually getting a pretty big upgrade. Now this isn't to say that these stats are final in Battlefield 4, in fact I'm positive some of them are going to change, but it looks, based on the alpha stats, that the devs were clearly thinking about upgrading the Type 88 to be a more effective machine gun. The first thing they did is they upped the rate of fire from 650 to 700 rounds per minute, which is actually a pretty big deal. 700 rounds per minute starts to eke the weapon into more of a competitive realm with other weapons out there. The vertical recoil was also reduced from the Battlefield 3's .36 to the Battlefield 4's .2, so it stands to reason that this gun is going to be far more controllable in Battlefield 4. And then on top of that, pretty much all of the light machine guns in Battlefield 4 are getting an accuracy increase, an aiming down sight accuracy increase. The current version of this weapon has a .5 aiming down sight accuracy spread while you're standing and firing, and in Battlefield 4 it's going to have a .4 aiming down sight accuracy spread while you're standing and firing. Sounds like a small change, but it actually makes a really big difference in the long run. You combine the accuracy increase with the reduced recoil, improved rate of fire, all of a sudden the Type 88 becomes a much stronger platform. And here we are on No Shar Canals. If you're ever trying to just farm kills, this is the place to do it. And I get my Mastery Dog Tag right now. There we go, the beautiful Type 88 light machine gun. Finally got it. Now I don't really have to use this gun anymore, although of course I tend to get a few more kills with it just to solidify my opinion, you know, to make sure I know the feeling of the weapon. Now, if for whatever reason you actually do like the Type 88, I can recommend using a red dot sight with this gun. You don't want any further magnification than a red dot sight, simply because the gun just doesn't have the accuracy to hold up to anything beyond red dot sight. You could use this zoom sight on here, 3.4 times sight and ACOG, whatever you want on there, but you can zoom in and watch your bullets kind of pelt around your target and miss completely. So there really isn't much point in using any sort of magnification sight on here. As I mentioned before, the foregrip probably isn't going to be your best friend unless you have an absolutely horrible time controlling recoil. Otherwise, just go with a bipod, red dot sight, extended mags, because that's pretty much the only saving grace with this weapon, is that it can be outfitted with 200 rounds in its magazine, which basically means you don't have to reload it. Although I will say, even in some of these No Shark Canal rounds here, I was actually reloading the gun, which just kind of surprised me. In fact, this clip right here, I do end up going through all 200 rounds with this weapon, and what seems to pretty much happen every time I go through 200 rounds on a team deathmatch map like this is I either have to switch kits or go for the reload. And generally speaking, when I go for the reload on a map like this, I just don't have enough time, because it's like 7.4 seconds to change out the box mag on this thing. And in team deathmatch, no shark canals, that's pretty much a death sentence. 7.4 seconds is an eternity. Anything can happen in that period of time, and I've literally had reloads where I was watching an enemy walk around in front of me, just hoping that he didn't turn around and see me, because if you gotta switch to that pistol mid-reload, you don't save any of your reload process. You have to start it over completely. So that's always been a gripe of mine in shooters right now, is they don't have tiered reload systems. And I'm sure it will come one day, probably not Battlefield 4, maybe Battlefield 5, they'll implement some sort of tiered reload system, and here I am with like almost no health. Check out this spawn here. I spawn in behind this whole enemy force. I'm in this building and they're just completely unaware of my situation. I mean, regardless of what gun you have right here, you're going to be doing pretty well as long as it's a light machine gun and you have unlimited ammo. But I felt like I just cleared out that entire area of baddies right there. It felt pretty good doing that much damage with the Type 88 to the machine. You know, I bet you some players are leaving this game thinking like, man, I gotta try out the Type 88. And I see that happens a lot with players that they're like, I love the Type 88 machine gun. And it's like, well, you know what? You can have a good round with any gun. It doesn't necessarily make it a really good gun. You know, the gun is only good if by comparison to other weapons, it's better than them. And that's just where the Type 88 fails. It's not really better than any other LMGs out there. Anyway, I completed the Dog Tag Mastery Challenge. I got my 500 kills. I'd love to hear from you guys which weapon you'd like me to master next. The list is in the video description, so please let me know in the comment section which weapon you want to see next. As always, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. This is LevelCap, signing off.